Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we ended up doing more of the Amber Void crusade. I need to pull up my map, I forgot about this. I don't know where to go properly. Alright, let's check our map out quick. Okay, so next step we have to go to is... oh, it's this one, but I failed that, so oops. Then that one, and then we get to go to... here, okay. Oh yeah, because they're all adding +1s. Neat. Yeah, I'm not modifying these.
We have a tough nut to crack. Our forces are unable to launch an aerial strike on a bunker protected by counter-battery units. You take out the artillery pieces first, then mark the bunker for the expurgation, while I feed you the necessary data from orbit.
But since most of you probably didn't see it, last week I ended up playing Battlefront 2, and I explained then, I'll explain again. The servers for this game were down from like Saturday to I think Thursday for PlayStation, because they're switching from like GameFlare or GameSpark to AWS, which I thought was a little annoying considering they had already done the transfer. I had to think of the word. I was going to say translation, but that's not it. The transfer for Xbox. So they should have already known what problems were going to arise. But they're still like, oh no, it'll be fine, and it very much wasn't. But thankfully the game finally was up, and I am here now. I saw something I thought was really interesting. So the Leagues of Votann finally got like their first patrol box, I think, and some other stuff released. And they've already been nerfed. Because apparently they were just straight up overpowered with a certain combo. And I get it. You know, you don't want these things to be busted, but at the same time, I'm just sitting here thinking, hey, why did it take you this long to figure this out? I feel like this is something you would have kind of done some testing with. I don't know. If I was sitting there releasing a new faction, I would have like an event. Be like, hey, you can get an early look at the books, and you can try out the armies, and let people play test. You know, get it into the hands of your average player, and then try to fix things. Granted, some people will not mention certain OP things. That's just how some people are. I mean, that happened recently with Total War Warhammer 3. People figured out Village the Curseling. If you build him right, you can get extremely cheap wins magic costs for like everything. Your biggest, toughest spells will cost you 5, and then he can solo multiple armies because his barrier regenerates when you cast stuff, and you just spam cast. So, you know, I get it, some things aren't going to come out, but better than trying to do like a last minute, oh shit, it's broken, here guys, it's been nerfed kind of deal. And there were people discussing before that, man, they really upped the font with the update. but there was the discussion of whether or not a faction should be banned at competitive. And it's one of those weird things where I feel like if you are mid-edition, yes, a new army should be banned until your new edition from competitive play, or until 1 year has passed, whichever comes first, because you need to sit down and test everything. You know, you need to be able to write out any changes to stat lines or any just general alterations. Because otherwise, yeah, like an at-launch faction, my experience in League of Legends taught me every character that just comes out is busted as hell, and then they get nerfed a couple months later. Why would it be any different? And that could have very well been the tactic. I cannot say for certain that it was the plan, but it is a way to sell stuff. Oh, buy the new busted faction before they get nerfed and beat a bunch of ass with it. And then once it gets nerfed, well, you already bought it, so hope it didn't get just pile driven into the ground. Remember how pissed people were when Iron Hands got nerfed? But I thought that was amusing. And I think a big problem is it is the competitive side. You can't really do a lot of nerfs. And I saw people try to compare it to like Magic the Gathering. I'm like, that's not a good comparison, since Magic, you buy the same cards every year. You know, there are a number, not even like blatant ones like Lava Axe, where I have versions from editions 10, 15 years apart. Same name, same effect, same everything. They just have a different flavor text and picture. But I also get, like, you just can't make that comparison. Because you're, like I said, you're buying the same cards year in and year out. And that's a way to retain a very good degree of balance. You know, these core cards are balanced. These new ones should be balanced. I think their ban lists per year are like single digits, maybe low double-digit numbers at best. I think of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban lists, where they've got stuff on there that's been banned for a decade. Or it's stuff that was banned, 3 different summon systems ago that they just never looked at again and reevaluated. A miniatures game is a lot harder to balance, because that's something I've thought about. I look at like HeroScape. With the announcement that it's kind of coming back, I want to get into it. I always loved it when I was younger. Thought it was cool. Couldn't afford it because I was poor. But I want to get into it. Think it'd be fun, get together with the homies, play the game. But I'm also like, what are they going to do about the old sets? And how do you balance it? Do you issue new stat cards? Because that's what they did. That's what Fantasy Flight did with Star Wars Armada. Actually, it was X-Wing. But I think X-Wing and Armada are like the same system. Because a friend of mine, he had like every first edition X-Wing miniature. And then they did like second edition. They're like, well, you can buy all these new stat cards. And they wanted, God, it would have cost him, I think, like $200 to get the stat cards for everything. And he just looked at it and it was like, nah, I'm out. And I mean, to a degree, 40K already does that with, like, chapter approves. But I don't think... I can't remember. I haven't looked at a chapter approved in ages to know how much they cost. Hey, stuff I don't really care about. Oh, secret mission, cool. And this is the way we're supposed to go. Yeah. Ugh. Actually, it makes sense. That last one had opened up a long time ago, and now we're getting the... Nah, we'll be fine.
We've detected multiple reality distortion waves near you, Inquisitor. The warp gates are active. I've activated the jello shields to protect the sanity of my crew.
Oh, I forgot to mention last episode. It turns out that capture, like that hunting guy thing where I just like vaporized him, you're supposed to hit a button and capture him. But it's like, come on, it's 40k. Do people ever really get the option to be taken alive? You know, you're sending an Inquisitor after a dude. He's coming back in a body bag. But yeah, the balance, just kind of going back, it's a difficult thing. I can definitely understand that, and people will always find the wildest setups. And yeah, like, it worries me when it comes to like HeroScape, because how do you balance old sets, and if they're even going to come back? I'd love for them to come back, because one, it would give them a pretty healthy amount to choose from at the start, and honestly, I think a lot more miniature games need to use that hex-based tile system, just because in terms of simplicity, it's a lot better than wargaming stuff like 40k, where it's like, okay, let me get my tape measure out, let me, you know, roll to charge, oh, I only got a 3, so I can only charge 3 inches. Stuff like that, it starts to get really tedious and kind of time-consuming. Yeah, if you are really good and you've played a lot and you know your distances and can eyeball it, sure. But I also think it's not the best when it comes to introducing people to the game early. But you know, the hex system, it's fun making environments, and then it's real easy. Oh, this is a 3-tile range. Well, I count to 3, and if something's within range, I can hit them. It's simplistic, and you can expand on it. Different terrain types having different effects, and different shot blockers and stuff. There's a lot you could do. It's just doing it. Because I wanted to make my own miniatures game. Still do. But there's a lot of other questions, like the advantage games like 40k have, and a lot of your run-of-the-mill wargaming games, is they're straightforward. You're always going to be able to buy a pack of Space Marines. Is my inventory full? Yes. Yes, it is. I'm stupid and forgot to empty it. Okay, we're gonna just start tossing stuff. Which is fine, all this blue stuff's junk anyways. Just annoying that I forgot to do that. Now that I think about it, this gives me time to mention, I had swapped out the shard I put into my armor, because it was a reflect damage one, but I don't know if I have reflect chance at all. I could easily check, but I'm lazy. Do I have a reflect chance? Looks like a no. Oh, 11% reflect chance. Yeah, so not that great, realistically, for my odds. So it's better that I just ditched it. I gave myself 600 more HP. You know, who's really going to say, oh, that was a stupid decision, why did you give yourself more survivability? You know, it's pretty straightforward. I need to do something about my suppression next. Probably going to be my next big investment, really. But yeah, just in terms of balancing stuff and availability, 40k is pretty simple. Oh, just buy a Space Marine pack. Oh, just buy a Land Raider. There's always going to be Land Raiders being produced. But I see a lot of these newer miniature games trying to edge into what effectively is like trading card game level stuff. And I think that is where it's going to start to get dicey. Because that's something that's what I wanted to do. And I sat there and contemplated it for the longest time. And I came to realize, like, that while, you can sell a lot of stuff, it also makes it very difficult for certain sets, because you're either going to have to constantly be releasing support for them, and you're going to end up boiling down to having a set of core teams, or you're going to end up with a bunch of different teams that might, depending on what you release and how you do stuff, they might become broken or just worthless. And that's a big challenge. Thank you, I wanted to target the little drones instead of the actual boss here. I haven't seen anything actually come of this update, so since we're still on Season 3, that says a decent amount. I'm trying to figure what I want to do for Season 4, though. Do you guys want to see me switch to, like, the Tech Adept, or what? Because I could keep running this guy for my Psyker. It's just he's going to end up, like, he won't be seasonal anymore, so we won't get the seasonal missions. Which kind of sucks, because I really love these. God, I'm going to have to burn all those Void Brethren insignias, and it's just going to be a ton of missions. You run a couple things like this, and suddenly you're just rolling in insignias. I've been contemplating actually fusing an extra slot into my armor. Or not my armor, like my other gear. Because you can do it. And I'm like, okay, pros and cons. Con, extremely expensive. Pro, I can ball out of control. Con, if I have to do this again for another piece of gear, which I likely will, really expensive. So that's a big con. The pro then still would be I could do higher difficulty stuff, get more stuff, potentially higher gear, and kind of pay off those costs easier. And that's kind of this weird back and forth where I see the advantages, but if I don't get good drops, it's just bad. It's all very challenging. Yeah, I should probably just make my way to the Demon Gate instead of monkeying around trying to map clear. Man, I just laugh though with the Leagues of Votann nerf.
The day is saved. It's time to open a bottle of Amasec. You deserve it.
Because it completely doesn't surprise me. I mean, people your theory crafters are always gonna just go crazy and do wild stuff. It's honestly why I love when people actually do theory crafting games. It is some of the craziest and most entertaining things you'll ever see. That's why it sucks when games, like, they try to remain balanced, and as a result, none of that cool theory crafting shows up. It's like, yeah, I get it. You want to make sure there's balance, but sometimes you just gotta say, okay, things are gonna be a little broken. Make a system or something else to counter the craziness, and just let it ride. Let's just dip. Rewards from the Holy Ordos. I don't know where you're putting those, because I don't have space to do anything. Ooh. 4 stats, you're getting nuked. Everything else... Oh yeah, I still have to do that. Is it really worth even doing now that it's only level 63? No, it's not worth the effort. It's probably just a fear on hit effect anyways. I mean, if we're being real, the rest of this stuff can probably go as well. 64... 63... It sucks having to let it all go, especially that, but... It's all kind of aging out as I'm just progressing. And in the end, that's fine, you know. The gear served its purpose for the time. I have a skill point. No, of course I don't. See, that suppression boost wouldn't be bad, but at the same time, I'd almost rather just go through the defense tree, because that gives me 80% chance, or minus 80% damage to any incoming damage that'd be lethal, and if I survive, I just get a boost of health. And it doesn't... I will not assume that it is on no cooldown, because that's a dangerous method to look at it from. But it looks like it has no cooldown, and that'd be cool. Everything else, like damage reduction, that's pretty cool. That invulnerability when entering unhinged. 25% shield, energy shield efficiency. Well, damn, I use energy shields. You know, the in-cover stuff I can ditch. Warp resistance. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 warp resist. Slap the all damage is converted to warp damage. Well, I guess I don't know if that's incoming damage or outgoing damage, because those are two completely different things. Alright, let's suffer through this one. No, not the Supreme Mission. Let me go. There. Oh, it's only... Oh, yeah, because other things haven't kicked in. Oh, now I get it. I am dumb. Okay. Thought process. I'll explain this to you guys. So, every mission that we reveal doesn't get the level penalties. See, 71. Please, for the love of God, I just want to make my point. 70, 72, even though we're at a higher difficulty. So that is how it works. It is weird, but it makes a lot of sense. So in that case, we should actually be hitting this, because that will reveal this lower one. The bottom area is completely sealed off. That's to be ignored, tragically. But everything else shouldn't be a problem. Then we can just end it at some point and go from there. Okay, I am kind of smart, but not really. I'm just observant.
Thousand worlds, 100,000 wars. There is no respite. There is nowhere to hide. Across the galaxy, there is only war.
Tell me what you guys think of like the bigger text now for getting loot. On one hand, it's kind of big. Actually, let's check. Can I tweak that? Enables floating text feedback information, dodged attacks, resisted effects. I kind of want that because that sounds really nice. But none of these... Okay, so I can't even change the text size, so we just gotta suffer through it if it's not the best. I'm okay with it. I don't really pay... Like, I pay attention, but I'm not sitting here like, oh my god, it's so... like, annoying. It's like, eh. It's just kind of there. Still waiting to hear about Path of Exile 2. Thought that was supposed to come out. God, this is just so goofy. I do love this, though. Like, this is such a fun way to just go about it. Be like, eh. It reminds me of the old Barbarian Spin-to-Win builds from Diablo. I love it. Wipe out entire rooms without firing a single shot.
Inquisitor, electrospectral scanning revealed info fragments of high importance in close proximity.
Okay, I actually have to...
Blessed scanning
yeah, I had to hit the boss. Oh, I saw a thing for Darktide. There's like a preacher. I don't know if it's a class or what it is. I just saw the title for the article and I was like, oh, cool. I'm just... For a lot of the info, I'm just going to wait for the game to come out. I'll pick it up when it drops for PlayStation since it's a timed exclusive. And I think it'll be interesting, for sure. It looks like they've definitely learned a lot from Vermintide, which I think is cool. I think customizing your character and their gear and stuff is a big deal. Okay. Kind of pointless to have that little turret bit there for one guy who's just a named random CSM. I guess it's whatever. You know, make the decisions you're gonna make.
The battle is swinging our way. One last push and the victory is ours.
Ooh, chest.
Once again, the enemy's
Oh, this is so dumb, just standing next to people burning them. Ah, but it works. And it kept me alive, so... Hey, more stuff. Yeah, because now if we look at this one, that one's 75. Ah, that's gonna suck. But then this one is still 72. If I can get up to this one. 71. 70. 74. So it's just these ones. Otherwise, the rest of these are still quite doable. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.